All right, it's up. Give it a couple seconds. I hate the fact that it says CSX in the fucking video.
That ain't good. Why does it say CSX in the video?
It's on my shirt.
Take your shirt off.
That would be interesting. Someone's watching. We're ready.
Take your shirt off.
Here we go.
And here we go.
Bob, just for you, I'm taking it off.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Sarcast. Joining me as he does each and every week, Mr. Robert Rennie.
What's up?
We're a little bit late starting tonight. We just had a little impromptu business meeting with our business partner, Mr. Nate Moss from the Money Pot podcast. I am your host, Steve Lybrand. It's been a little while since we've been here.
It's only been 2 weeks.
Yeah, listen, a lot has happened in 2 weeks.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I think the last time we were here, there was kind of a down. It was kind of a down mood because they stormed the Capitol, and then today Joe Biden gets inaugurated. Now, I don't want to do a ton of politics tonight, but I mean, we'd be remiss if we didn't even mention that it happened today. Everything went off without a hitch. It looked like.
Yeah, everything went cool.
Definitely a different tone.
Very presidential.
Yeah. I find it funny that, like, just like social media today, like just watching it and seeing like all the posts, like I felt like some people today realized that Donald Trump lost. Like today, like
it took till today.
Like I think all this time, like there was this thought, like he's gonna beat this, he's gonna figure it out.
Whew.
Like you didn't get that vibe, like where people went, fine, this is what you're gonna get now. Yeah. This is, I hope you're happy with this. Like I saw people like, gas is going to be this. I'm taking a picture of this to show you guys
I saw
in
someone
4 years.
say that I guess gas is going to be $4 a gallon again.
Yeah.
I don't know. It might.
It
might
won't.
Not.
It won't. Who's president does not affect gas prices. It doesn't.
A little bit.
It doesn't at all.
All right. I mean,
if we go to war in the Middle East and people are stupid enough to believe that they get their gas or their oil rather from the Middle East, we don't get our oil there. They're like fifth. We've had this conversation. Fifth. We get all of our oil from Mexico and from Canada and like from Venezuela, like South America.
Yeah.
And then we have our own, we have the largest. One, right? Yeah. America has the largest reserve of oil out of anybody in the world. Mm-hmm. We just don't use our own shit.
We export more than we buy, I believe.
Correct. I think the last time like we had spikes where gas was like $4 a gallon, 4 and change, it was because there was a fucking an oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. And everybody went, "Ooh, it's the president." Ah! No. It's because it was a fucking oil spill. Like, use your brains.
Ready, set, stop fracking gas.
He's not wrong. Yeah. One of the things that you're going to see happen, though, is we're going to start putting some regulations back on people that have gone unchecked. Like the EPA. Yeah, probably put somebody in there who believes in the environment again, instead of somebody who's against it.
I think there was 17 executive orders signed already today.
Yeah, that's typical.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
Yeah. Definitely interesting. I mean, my man went out exactly the way he came in.
Let me ask you a question. And I've asked a few people this, okay? Regardless of the person, the people really, like, honestly don't matter. Tradition.
Right.
How big are you on that?
Very.
So
when it comes to that, like there's other traditions I don't give a shit about, but like when it comes to like the presidential stuff,
yeah. So like
they've been doing it since the beginning. Yeah.
That were missed today. Like so, like for instance, like usually the president-elect comes to the White House in the morning, and him and the president that's going out spend the morning together.
Correct.
Then they get in the car together and they drive to the Capitol building.
Correct.
And then the whole inauguration happens and everything. Yep. And then the president that just went out of office literally stays around the whole day with the new president.
Yes.
None of it.
No. And my man went even as far as like he wanted to try to steal the moment because that's what he is. Listen, I don't care what your politics are. If you want to support Trump,
Twitter, he would have been tweeting the whole time.
Oh my God. So if you want to support Trump, that's fine. I have no qualms with that. But don't downplay what he is. Don't downplay the fact that the guy's a narcissistic egomaniac.
Yeah.
So much so that he made it very widely known that he wasn't going to show up to the inauguration because he lost for no other reason other than he lost.
Right. I kind of question that though. I wonder if no matter what, he was not going to go. Like, even if he would have served 8 years, he wouldn't have went. I feel like he was just a guy like.
Well, it depends, because if in 8 years he was handing it off to, let's say, one of his kids, or he was handing it off to another Republican candidate, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to, find a way to sneak in a third term. Like, it's not above the guy.
Right. Yeah.
But like the guy, he's a narcissistic egomaniac. That's what the guy is. Like the fact that he decided he wasn't going to go and he was going to turn this moment into a him moment again instead of letting it be Joe Biden's moment. Going so far as to say, I'm going to leave the White House by throwing a party on the way out, inviting a bunch of people who, by the way, didn't show up.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do it at exactly the same time that Joe Biden is
Where did he say
getting
that?
his inauguration. What?
I didn't see him say that.
No, he did it at exactly the same time. Like so what he wanted to do was divide the media so they all couldn't be covering the same thing. They would have to cover him at the same time as they're covering Biden.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. He wanted
to do a 21.
He left at like 10 o'clock, right?
Right. The inauguration was supposed to start at 10:30.
Well,
and they start all of the coverage leading all the way up to that. He tried to time it.
CNN and like all these news channels are literally having all day coverage of the inauguration.
Correct. He wanted to try to steal that moment.
Oh, yeah.
But he thought it was going to be bigger. So do you remember who Scaramucci is?
No.
All right. So Scaramucci was his press secretary.
Okay.
He was the guy. He literally had the job for 2 weeks before he quit. Okay. He was just like, fuck this. I can't work for you anymore. You're a nightmare.
Yeah.
So he tweeted out or posted out that Trump invited him to come to his inauguration goodbye. He basically invited everybody he's ever met in his life and told them to bring 5 friends. And nobody showed up.
15 people showed up.
Yeah, he had nobody there to wave him goodbye. Like the vice president went to the inauguration because that's what you're fucking supposed to do.
Well, see, dude, like I read something about the
mooch. That's correct, Scotty.
I read something about the vice president. So apparently for the last 4 years, Mike Pence has literally been he hasn't been assigned to do anything.
Right.
Everything that Mike Pence has got himself into in the last 4 years is because he knew the office essentially, and he knew shit was going on, so he would just show up and get involved.
Yeah, well, he had some responsibilities too, but at the end of the day, he's culpable.
But he said
he's culpable.
The article I read said that Mike Pence literally would have to go to the West Wing of the White House and just walk into meetings and sit down because he was not on the official list of people invited.
Correct. But again, he's just as culpable. He went along for the ride. He knew all of this was going on. He knew what the situation was. So it's almost like when you have I'll give a sports analogy, right? So you have somebody like Steve Nash, right?
Okay. Steve
Nash now coaches the Nets.
Yeah.
So Steve Nash, first thing he went out and did, he went out and got a coach who had an assistant coach that had a ton of coaching experience. He went out and hired Mike D'Antoni, who's coached at multiple levels, multiple places, to be able to help guide him through the process.
Yeah.
Doug Peterson did it when he came over at the Eagles.
Got Frank Reich.
But he also brought in Jim Schwartz, who was also a head coach as well.
Yeah.
So a good leader will bring in somebody that has experience, but a good leader is going to listen to that person for advice to learn how to navigate the waters and do the right things. That's where he failed. He brought that guy in as a figurehead because the evangelicals love Mike Pence. He's a very religious guy. they love him to death, so he brought him in there to buy that vote.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like when he put like different people in place, it was all strategic. He put the guy Rick whatever from Texas in charge of the EPA because he wanted to get that vote. The chick that Betsy DeVos, she's from like Minnesota or something, or Michigan, somewhere up there.
Okay.
And she's also a top donor. Like, so he strategically placed all those people. Like, nobody's saying the guy's stupid or that he was terrible at what he did.
Mm-hmm.
The guy's just an asshole, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the fact that people don't address that, they just let it go. Like, well, we know that he's an asshole. We're okay with that because it's better than the alternative. Is it, though?
No.
He spent the last 4 years alienating us from our greatest allies. Canada fucking hated us. Wouldn't work with us on anything.
Yeah. Because he tried to shut down that border.
Mexico fucking hated us.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of taking a diplomatic approach and saying, hey, we need to figure out a way to do this together, he just said, fuck you. I'm going to put up a wall. And I'm going to fucking call all of your people names and I'm going to embarrass you because that's what I do.
Yeah.
And the same way with people up in with the Canadians. He's a jerk off to them. To jerk off to the prime minister. You know, those are our two biggest buffers to being attacked on our own land.
Yeah, if you piss them off, people could land there and
Fuck
fucking,
yeah, dude.
You know, like, hey, we want to attack them. Oh, cool. Go ahead, use our border.
Dude, if Russia wanted to attack us and they were pissed and Canada was pissed enough, they could walk in right through Canada.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
no, I
diplomacy
get you. Yes,
issues.
He was a fucking asshole. Like, literally, you know? And there's still people who literally are cheering for the guy.
Yeah. Listen, I'll end my political conversation on that on this token. Say what you want about Joe Biden, but he worked out of that office for 8 years.
He
knows the ins and outs. He's had high level things that he's able to, to navigate through.
Mm-hmm. He was vice president for 8 years.
Right.
He's also been and the only reason I know this number is because of Donald Trump, but he's also been in political office for 47 years.
Correct. And the conversation that, and he's never accomplished anything. You sound like an asshole.
A lot of people don't accomplish anything in politics. And when they do, there's always someone to try and reverse it anyway. So what difference does it make?
To say that he didn't accomplish anything, he just became the president of the United States.
Yeah. He
spent 8 years. He's now going to have 12 years in the office so far.
Yeah.
So to say that he didn't accomplish anything or he didn't reach that. Listen, my man literally came out of retirement and said, I'm only running because I'm the guy who can take him down. And he did.
Yeah. Randy said the kid sniffer.
I don't care. He can sniff whoever he wants. Listen, why does shampoo have a scent if it's not to be sniffed?
Who's a crook, Brian? Biden?
Probably.
Prove it. No one's been able to prove it.
No.
I don't know. Yeah.
Whatever happens now happens.
Yeah.
And while we're on the subject, because this is another big thing that came up, you had mentioned it earlier. Trump was on Twitter. So Twitter banned him. I think Facebook banned him.
Everyone
banned him.
Instagram,
right.
TikTok.
Yeah.
He wasn't even on TikTok and he's banned.
Yeah.
Snapchat, whatever. They all banned him.
So the people out there who said, oh, it's censorship.
It's not.
Can't censor him. Check this out. So imagine Facebook is a mall. Imagine Facebook is the Willow Grove Mall, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can go into the mall anytime I want to. Anytime I want to, I can go in there.
Mm-hmm.
What did he accomplish? He's the president of the United States.
The 46th president of
Correct.
the United States.
However he got there. That's an accomplishment in its own.
He also was the 44th vice president.
Either way.
Huh.
So whether he's going to do a good job or not, that remains to be seen. He gets an opportunity. It is what it is.
What he can do.
Yeah, it is what it is. I'm not here to argue.
It's the hardest,
one or the other. I could care less
it's
to
one
do
of
that.
the hardest offices to do things. Oh shit!
Damn it! We just lost Brian
just
Reinhardt.
lost Brian Reinhardt. What the fuck are we gonna do now?
God
damn it, dude!
Damn it!
Oh man,
that makes me sad.
Damn it!
I don't know him.
I don't know him either, do I?
I don't know.
Let me see.
At any rate, And now I completely lost my train of thought. I hate losing people.
I do too.
Brian Ironheart said he will not be listening to us again. God forbid we didn't lay at the golden altar of Trump.
Oh, he's Bob's friend, I guess.
In all honesty, like, this is why we try to avoid politics and have that conversation.
Because of that?
Well, yeah, because there's no ability to have an open mind just because you don't like the guy. Like, I'm not here to tell you one way or the other. Like, I could sit here and rattle off a bunch of things that Trump did or didn't do. It's irrelevant.
Look,
irrelevant.
I'm just going to say it this way. Ready? Before COVID, last January, I thought Trump was going to run away with the election. Literally, I think he was going to run away with the election to win re-election. He was going to run away with it. But then COVID happened, and the way that he reacted to it and downplayed it and treated it like it was nothing changed a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we're talking about censorship. So here's my example. Let's say I go into the Willow Grove Mall, right? I can go in there anytime I want. It's a public place, right?
Yeah.
And I go in there and I start spouting the most heinous shit ever.
Mm-hmm.
There's a good chance security is going to come grab me and take me out and tell me I'm not allowed back in the mall anymore.
Correct.
Right? Now, it's free speech. I can say whatever I want, wherever I want, right?
Yeah.
Whenever I want.
Correct. Okay.
So them kicking me out is them saying, hey, we don't want that happening in our place of business.
Right.
And guess what?
There's
a right nobody in the world that's going to stop them and say that they were wrong if I'm in there saying whatever I want to. Because guess what? Free speech only means that the government can't regulate your speech. The government can't tell the media what they can and can't write.
Correct.
You can't censor, people as a government, but as a business.
Look,
if as a business, and this goes back to Mike Pence, if you're going to say that they censored Trump, Twitter and all that by telling him he couldn't go, how is that any different than Mike Pence signing legislation to say that, as a store, my political beliefs trump your, homosexuality or being a lesbian, so I don't have to serve you.
So I think you're taking it way too far. Like, as far as trying to.
At the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is it's a business.
It's simple. It's Twitter. It's their site.
They own it.
That's
my point. They own it.
They run it.
Correct.
They're the ones who provide the site for you to use. Okay.
Right.
Now, I know people were saying like, oh, well, they didn't take down other people's stuff during the summer, like with riots and things like that. And people were like encouraging and things like that. So I tried to explain it to someone this way. He has 88 million followers.
Right.
It changes the way that you look at it because he can reach 88 million people.
Right.
Like, for instance, if he tweets something, within 10 minutes, he has 100,000 retweets. Okay. Right. So he reached 88 million people.
He can literally tweet out dog shit tastes amazing. 100 retweets. Agreed. Pair hands.
Yeah. Like, it's just the reach. He can reach so many people and he can make so many things happen. Hold on. Twitter wants to release their liability from it. Okay. That's what it is. It's a liability thing.
But it's not just that. So those other people that tweeted stuff out or posted shit on Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay. He's literally breaking their guidelines.
I know. That's what else.
And they gave him so much sway for the longest time until violence broke out based off of what he did.
They came up with a friggin' they had to put a tag on every post he did. Yeah. Every website was. Facebook was, Twitter was, Instagram was, dude.
Right.
They all were putting that his shit is not real. Like, what he is saying is not a fact, is literally what they were putting on it.
Right.
So it's like when you have to keep doing that and keep doing that, like they had to come up with that just for him.
Correct.
They didn't do it for anyone else. I've never seen it until he started saying shit.
Yeah. There's actually people who are out there who counted the lies that he told during his press conferences and whenever he did public speeches, and it's well over 25,000.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't lie 25,000 times in a lifetime.
Right. Dude,
in 4 years, he lied publicly more than 25,000 times.
What was it?
Or gave misleading statements.
His farewell thing he did last night. and the previous press conference before that were the first time since the election, since 3 months before the election, that I didn't hear him say in a press conference that the election was stolen from him. They were the first time that I didn't hear it in a press conference from him. And it's like someone had to tell him, like, dude, just shut up.
Yeah. On a final note, all the people that are like, oh, Joe Biden, not my president. And then, like, if you try to rebut them and they're like, well, you guys started it 4 years ago with Trump. Well, actually, no, you guys started it. The other side started it
with Obama
12 years ago with, not only was he not my president, he was not a resident.
Yeah.
He wasn't from here.
And
he had no,
but he wasn't a resident.
Donald Trump. Right. So to go back full circle, like whatever you got the last 4 years and whatever ridicule you take, like you deserved it.
Yeah.
You deserved it.
Freddie said, admit the last 4 years were so much fun.
Yeah. Amazing.
It was definitely entertaining.
If your kid acts like an asshole in public and you don't do anything about it, like you can't get annoyed when people call you a bad parent. That's the last 4 years.
Yeah.
The guy acts like an asshole in public and you support it, you encourage it. All you're doing is making it worse. He's going to get continually worse and worse and worse until people are storming the Capitol building.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's that. We're done with it. It's over. Whatever he does next is what he does.
He's probably right now, like, literally trying to log into Twitter.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
No. He's going to start his own, the Trump network. He'll have his own Trump social media. He'll have his own, listen, his legacy is his name, not what he does.
Yeah.
Trump 2024. Unless it's Don Jr. Let's get into what we do. We don't talk politics anymore. That's the end of that. Let's talk a little funny, Rob. You said you had some stories you wanted to talk about.
Oh, yeah. Do you want me to go to first? All right, cool.
Hit me with them.
All right, hold on. I just lost my own fucking message.
You had messages?
All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
After being engaged for nearly a year, bodybuilder ties the knot with his sex doll.
All right.
He popped the question in December of last year. His name is Yuri. He married his doll named Margot in a breathtaking ceremony.
So who took the breath? Because I know she did it. Go ahead.
A bodybuilder from Kazakhstan. Yeah, Kazakhstan.
There you go.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you. Who found love in a sex doll is finally tied the knot after delaying the union for months. Yuri met a silicone doll named Margot at a nightclub where she was apparently being mistreated by a young man. He managed to rescue her, and the two became inseparable. After dating for 8 months, Yuri decided to make things official by popping a question in 2019. The unusual pair was all set to get married in March, and the coronavirus broke out. I don't understand why it really mattered.
So this is a mental health issue, basically is what it comes down to. I mean, listen, I'm not going to knock the guy for fucking the sex doll. Some of those sex dolls are well built.
He put a fucking ring on her finger.
Yeah, some of those sex dolls are pretty well built. So, like, what happens? Like, you go to the dude's house, right? Like, you're hanging out with him, watching the game or whatever. You notice that, she's in the...
hold on, dude. Okay. Sharing details about his sex life with now wife Margot, he said, "Our story turns me on much more than the sex itself. I also love BDSM. I love being tortured." How are you being tortured from a doll? Margot is capable of what other people are not capable of. Yeah, she just lays there.
Yeah.
All right, this dude's whacked. He takes her to the beach and shit in a bathing suit, dude. He literally
he's a nutcase. Like
that's a Twitter account, dude.
That's 100%.
Instagram.
So either he's trying to do this for like fame and attention.
Let's see.
Or like he's really
3,000 followers and he's got a blue check mark on Instagram.
That's why. He's a nut job.
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool.
I hope she gives him little robot babies, whatever, little silicone babies.
That's just craziness.
Let me ask you a question and be honest with me.
Go ahead.
All right. So my man like consistently bangs this sex doll, right?
Okay.
Now, put yourself in the guy's situation because I always wonder this. Okay. I guess you can look at it from different angles. You tell me your opinion. So you get all worked up, right? You got the doll, you got some lotion, you're getting ready to go, right? You go through the entire act, everything's done and over, you finish, you blast off inside of her, right? Inside of it, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, what goes through your mind as you're cleaning it?
I don't know.
Like, that's got to be the most lowest, like, loneliest point of your life. Where, like, you're, like, fucking 4 knuckles deep inside of it. Like, I got to get it all because if I don't, it's going to fuck up the interior. Like, I can't leave it in there, right?
Steve, I haven't put that much thought into it.
But you know what? You understand what I'm saying, right?
Reddy said she will never have a headache.
It's true. It's true. But, like, you can't just keep busting inside of it. Like, it's not a self-cleaning oven. Like, eventually you have to go in there snapping rubber gloves with some fucking Windex, because I don't know what else you would use, and fucking clean that thing, right?
Yeah. Listen, at least she can't give him COVID.
Right? But at the end of the day, like, I feel like that's the lowest possible point of your life. And listen.
What's he going to do when they try and vaccinate her?
Oh, I don't know.
Pops is dying.
But, like, imagine that. Imagine you're sitting there and you're like, man, I got to clean this thing.
That's weird, man.
Like, you've got it face down in the tub. Like, oh my God, I don't want you to drown. So you've got one head up there.
He puts makeup and shit on it.
Of course he does.
So he's got to
of
clean
course
the
he
makeup
does.
off it. He
Rob,
probably
he's
puts
not-
eyebrows and shit.
He's not half crazy. He's full crazy.
Yeah. Imagine his neighbors when he comes out the door carrying the fucking doll. He's like, holding it up like,
Yeah.
we're going out to dinner.
Yeah.
Weird. Oh my God. All right.
So when he's cleaning it, one last question. When he's cleaning it and he goes 4 deep, right? To clean out, he's got to scoop it out, I'm going to assume. Unless you're going in there with like a dust buster, right? Try to get it all out. You know what I'm saying? Like a ladle.
Mm-hmm.
Does he automatically get turned on again?
I don't know.
Like, you take that while I'm cleaning you. Or is he just like, man, this sucks?
I would imagine he's got to say this sucks.
Right?
I mean, yeah. Right? I don't know. I got another one for you.
Fire.
Man legally changed his name to Celine Dion while drunk. Says he doesn't remember doing it.
Okay.
So the story says never underestimate the power of boredom and alcohol.
He was in Vegas, wasn't he?
No. While watching, it was in the United Kingdom. While watching the illustrious Celine Dion at home with a bottle of champagne.
Just to give you a heads up, too, you are blocking your camera with your phone.
My bad. My bad. Sorry, everyone's got to see my angles.
Yeah, they want to see your pretty face.
Yeah, man. Bottle of champagne, 30-year-old Dion Stan in the United Kingdom legally changed his name to Celine Dion. The newly minted Dion, born Thomas Dodd, watched the Canadian singer's TV holiday concert to stay entertained on Christmas Eve and the holidays as England intensified its lockdown. She is my go-to person I listen to when I need cheering up. Sometime during the sublime even, Dodd was so moved by the performance that he got on his computer and paid £89 to change his name. By the morning, he had absolutely no memory of it. I honestly, hand on heart, don't remember doing it, he said. I remember watching a concert and remember getting rather tipsy. Days after the incident, Dodd found a change of name deed in his mailbox. He says, I wasn't aware I'd done it until I found that envelope in my post. Initially, I had to sit down as I couldn't believe it. So then I checked my bank, which confirmed it all. This dude needs something else to do. He's bored.
I fucking, like, first off, it's impressive that he was that drunk and he was able to legally change his name. Like, I'm not sure I would know how to do that sober.
It's impressive that you can just go online and change your name.
Listen, you can do anything with a bank account.
I don't know how to do that.
Sober. This guy did it hammered.
Yeah. And he's keeping it.
As he should. It's a great fucking story.
Not changing it back or anything.
It's a great story. I wouldn't change it back.
So
I got hammered and changed my name to Taylor Swift.
All right, Taylor. We'll go with that.
T-Swizzle.
All right. I don't know.
What else you got?
I mean, I forget shit when I'm drunk.
I forget shit when I'm drunk too, but I wouldn't fucking. I don't think that I'd be able to go online and change my name. Like,
no, dude. Like,
if
I
I'm
can't even
blackout
see my
drunk like
phone
that,
sometimes.
nah,
Like, I
dude.
forget where my phone is and shit.
You think he didn't speak to talk?
Change my name to Celine Dion. Did you say Celine Dion? All right. So which one? This one here is impressive.
Okay.
Man caught living in Chicago's O'Hare Airport for months.
Yeah.
Prosecutors say he was afraid to fly home due to COVID-19. So the man was allegedly living inside O'Hare's airport for 3 months. 3 months this dude was living in the airport. The only reason he got caught is because he found an airport worker's misplaced credentials and survived inside the secure area of the airport. He arrived at O'Hare Terminal on a flight from Los Angeles back on October 19th. He was living inside the airport security zone since then. On Saturday, 2 United Airline employees confronted Singh and asked to see his work ID, which had been reported stolen by an airport operation manager. Singh was taken into custody and told authorities he found the credentials and was afraid to fly home in a pandemic. But he flew there. This dude's like another one who's just weird. He's been charged with felony criminal trespass to a restricted area of the airport.
So they actually have a movie that's kind of similar that's based on this with Tom Hanks. It's called Terminal, I believe.
Okay.
And he plays, it's a true story. He plays a character who had to live in the airport for a year. I think he like lost his passport or whatever and couldn't get out of the airport. It was the only place that he was legally allowed to go until I guess somehow they got in the documentation. So like, this is not something that has happened before.
Yeah, but like, dude, here's the thing that this guy, like, so I think I've been to O'Hare. I've been to O'Hare Airport.
Chicago?
Right? Yeah. So in the middle of the night, like from like 1 to like 5 a.m., the airport literally is locked. Like you can't really go in. They don't start letting you back in until like 5 a.m. because there's no flights during that time sometimes.
I don't know. You could probably catch red eyes and shit. It's an international airport.
Sometimes some of the gates are closed. Like I've literally been there. We had to go. Like we got stuck at the airport in Chicago. Before,
if you had like a layover or something.
Bro, we got stuck at the airport. We couldn't go anywhere. They wouldn't fly us home because of storms.
Right.
We had to go outside of the main terminal area of the airport. Okay. This dude did this for 3 months.
Yeah, he stole the pass though.
Yeah. But
he had credentials.
So he was in the back of the airport, like sneaking around all the time.
Right. I want to know like how he
But why? How are you going to say you were afraid to fly in a pandemic, but yet you flew there? Like, what happened on the flight there that made you not want to fly back home? And also, why wouldn't you just be like, all right, I'm just going to get a car, drive home,
right?
Train, drive home, something like. I don't understand.
Yeah,
you know. But so, his defense attorney made a request to allow Singh to fly home. The judge denied that and set bail at $10,000.
That's a bit extreme.
I think it's funny though. You didn't allow him to fly home.
Yeah.
Like, nah, you were here. You're staying.
Yeah. What else you got?
Former church pastor now makes $100,000 a month living as a life coaching stripper. See this story?
I did not. Female or male?
Female.
It's always a female.
She ditched her life as a pastor in Ohio 3 years ago and now lives in California to make a living in the sex industry. Mitchell, a mom of 3 who describes herself as a pastor turned stripper / life coach / model on her Instagram accounts that boast 120,000 followers, charges $15 a month for an OnlyFans account and for Zoom sessions. She now makes $100,000 a month, eclipsing her former saintly salary, and had a hell of a 2020, according to The Sun.
Well, anybody that has an OnlyFans now making money.
I'm not.
What's that?
I'm not.
You have an OnlyFans?
No one wants to see it, though.
Do you have it?
No.
I was going to say. You could probably find a niche where you just sit there and like scratch your chest. Like There's dudes out there that would pay to see that, Rob. Don't discount yourself.
I'm good, though.
I'm just saying, you want to make some extra cash.
I'm good, man. Good.
I could probably start an OnlyFans where like just sit there and charge like $5 a month to have people watch me flick lint out of my belly button.
Nah.
There's probably people that are into that.
Your mom said the pay is better.
The pay is definitely better. But I mean, what's the long-term ramifications of this? Like, she better invest it well or put it away. Because the last thing people are going to want to do is want to watch some old wrinkly bitch. I didn't say his hairy butthole, dude. Joe said nobody wants to see Rob's hairy butthole. I was talking about his chest.
The second time my chest came up on the show.
You started it. But nobody's going to pay $15 a month or whatever. Like, eventually that shit's going to run out. Like,
I don't know, dude. These people are crazy.
The other part of this too is people are capitalizing and making a shit ton of money on the OnlyFans because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
Like, if the pandemic ends, like that's going to dry up.
Oh, not for all right. I was frozen for a minute. Yeah.
Like, at least I think so. Maybe I'm wrong.
Some of it. They're like,
is that shit taxed?
I don't know.
It's got to be taxed, right? I know what I wanted to talk to you about.
All right.
Before we move on, he said, I'll pay $100 for Rob to save his chest and back. I'm assuming you mean shave, Joe.
Yeah, Joe, not happening. $100? That ain't even worth it. That ain't even worth me to take off my shirt.
Yeah, bitch. So I was at Wawa, and this is another one of those irrational thoughts.
Okay.
A couple episodes back, we talked about Steve's irrational thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in Wawa and I'm paying for my shit, right? You know how like the change comes out of the change like machine, like it gives you the automatic change.
Yeah, I hate those things.
All right,
because they are in the worst possible place almost all the time.
Well, so the change comes down to the chute, right? And I always grab the change because I don't like having change in my pocket. It annoys
so
the
you
shit
always
out of
put it in the donation thing they have next to the register.
So here's my irrational thought. And I got so fucking mad afterwards. Like I almost wanted to like be like, listen, I'm just gonna take the whole thing. I want my money back, but I can't get my finger down into the slot. I don't take it back.
Okay.
So it made me think about every time that I've ever dropped money in there. It's not about the amount. I don't care about the amount. Okay. So I'm going to use Wawa as the example, but any business can apply.
Okay.
If they have one of those change things out there, right? Are they then taking that money? Like Wawa itself says it goes to the Wawa Foundation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are they, as Wawa Corporation, taking that money and donating it to the Wawa Foundation and then getting a tax break for it? Are they getting a tax break for money that they didn't even donate?
Probably.
That's bullshit. That's
Yeah.
major bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Because that's a huge fucking tax break. They're not. Stop it. So like as I dropped the money and I went, oh shit, they're probably getting a tax break for this on the back of the working man.
Because you know how many people do the same thing?
1,000 a day. I don't even know. It's got to be astronomical.
Because like I hate carrying like change. Like honestly, like I don't like having change in my pocket either. Because like you lose it, it falls out. Like every time I go through a car or like the work truck or something where I spent cash, dude, I end up finding like I'll find like $5 just in change. Like I'm like, where all this? I don't even carry cash.
I don't really want that. And it's not even about that. Like I'm sure their foundation does great work. By all means, knock yourself out.
What does their foundation do?
I don't want them it's not even even if it's not their foundation, I don't give a shit whose foundation it is. If it's being donated on behalf of that business, as if like they broke down and were like, you know what, I got an extra 20 this month. Let me throw it to the Wawa Foundation. Like, no.
Health, Hunger Heroes, Special Olympics.
It probably goes to a bunch of good places, but I don't know why I've never thought of it before, but it hit me and I was like, you know what? This kind of annoys me.
Yeah. I mean, well, so some places actually do some things differently though. So the Wawa Foundation itself could be what they call I think it's called a 501c or something, which is a foundation that actually doesn't even pay taxes.
Yeah, no. I'm not talking about the Wawa Foundation. They're fine with what they're doing. I'm saying that Wawa the corporation and Wawa the foundation are two separate entities.
No, I don't think Wawa's taking it and donating it back to themselves, dude.
No. They are.
No, I think they probably just have someone come clean up the change, and they probably just count it and donate it.
I don't
know.
They
probably count it, and that's the foundation's money.
I don't know, bud.
Nah, dude.
I think they take the time and it goes and it gets sorted out. And it gets deposited into their bank account, and they make one straight up check to them. And when that check comes out of their bank account, they now have a lot. I'm telling you, I guarantee they do.
I don't think they do that.
I guarantee they do.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I guarantee they do.
Okay. Well, I doubt it. Because they probably don't even put that money in those things with their money from the registers.
I'm not saying they put in the money with the registers. I'm saying that they go around and they take all of that money, and then somebody comes and cleans it out, and they take it to wherever, and they deposit it into a bank account that then kicks out one check once a year or quarterly to that foundation. And then they have a paper trail to be able to say they donated X amount of money from that to that foundation. They don't have to say where the money came from.
Right. I get that, but I don't think they do it. I just don't.
You have a higher standard for Wawa than I do. This is the same company that tried to rip you off a month ago. Look who
but actually they
forgets.
gave it right. Like, it wasn't even that. They gave it back.
It's not the point. It's not the point. It's not just them. Other corporations do it as well. You think that McDonald's, when you drop the change in the Ronald McDonald House, that they're not donating it back to the Ronald McDonald House? It's their own friggin' foundation. It's a tax deduction, I promise you.
All right, well, stop donating money to them.
They ain't getting another goddamn dime out of me.
Do you ever do the roundup?
I used to. I don't do it anymore.
Okay.
They're all doing it now. Anytime you use the card, would you like to round up? No. Because now I know that's going directly into your bank account, and then you're going to make a tax deduction on that.
Isn't there a bank or a site or something that'll do it for you and put the money, like,
invest it?
Put the
so it's Acorns. So I've actually done Acorns.
Okay.
What I don't like about Acorns is the fact that you don't know where it's getting invested to. Like, it doesn't tell you.
You're not actually investing it?
You are, but you don't get to choose what companies it invests in.
Okay. But so if you spend $1.50 at the store, the 50 cents goes to Acorn, how's that work? Do you have to use a certain card or?
No, like whatever. So what it does is it rounds up all of your donations, and it'll tell you, like, the app connects to your bank account.
Yeah.
And it'll say you've made X amount of purchases. Would you like to transfer $5 over to your Acorns account?
Okay.
Like, it doesn't just automatically do it. Like, I remember at one point when I have Bank of America, and at one point I used to do keep the change, and it would round up my money and throw it into a savings account.
Correct.
So it's not like that. It doesn't automatically, like, if you go buy a cup of coffee and there's 8 cents, it doesn't just throw it into an account.
Okay. It just
it accumulates.
It keeps track of it, kind of.
Correct.
Okay. I didn't know what it was. I just knew that I heard something does that.
Yeah. Joe said the cashiers are splitting it up in the back room. He's probably right.
I mean, I could, like, so there's one or two things I could see happening. One is I could actually see Wawa counting the change.
Right.
And converting the change essentially for their stores, for the coins, to keep the coins in the store.
And then what? Throwing cash in there and be like, yeah, here's your take.
Yeah, and then they just give the cash, or they have a complete separate company who comes around and just collects the coins.
It's a criminal enterprise.
Yeah, well, I mean,
tax deductions.
We're going to have to call Wawa and find out.
If anybody knows, I want the details. Tammy needs her Newports.
Joe, are you drunk?
I think he is drunk. He just keeps spelling everything incorrectly. So yeah, I don't know why that came up, but I was there and I thought about that.
Okay.
You got any more stories?
I got one that you'll love.
Okay.
Hold on. I lost it again. Damn it. Aggressive squirrel attacks reported in a New York City neighborhood. Residents in Queens, New York have reported at least 5 attacks from aggressive squirrels since last November. Most of the attacks have happened on 65th Drive near Fidget Street in the Rego Park neighborhood. One woman had to visit the emergency room after her hand was bitten by a squirrel Others have said they are afraid to walk in their own neighborhood due to the critters.
So I'm anti-squirrel.
Here's one person said, it just basically runs up my leg, and I'm like, okay, squirrel, hello, what are you doing? Frederick said, he either bit or scratched me on my neck. Then I must have reached over, and next thing I know, it's an MMA cage match, and I'm losing.
I've always been anti-squirrel. That's my thing.
Yeah, I know. It's the only reason I brought the story here.
I'm 100% anti-squirrel. My wife won't let me get a BB gun so I can start taking them out. They'll sit at the back door. When I used to have a full glass like storm door, and they would sit at the back door and antagonize my cat.
Dude, how come your dogs don't chase them?
They do.
Okay.
As soon as I open the door, they come barrel-assing out. One of my dogs actually got one and ate the squirrel. I think it was a baby squirrel.
Really?
And got sick and hacked it up. And my wife was like, it was just this bloody mess. And she fucking coughed up. And I went, good for her. Like, I'm excited about that. And my wife said, you didn't have to clean it up. And I'm like, not the point.
Yeah.
You should have just threw the fucking dead carcass out in the backyard and left it there. I came home one day. She's fucking nursing a whole family back to life. She's got them in a box. The dogs chased it. Must have got to it. I'm like, then let it die. Put that shit on a stake and let that be a message to the rest of them.
Dude, so we have squirrels at my house too.
Right?
But they run along like the top of my fence. So the dog sees them out my back window because it's full glass.
Right.
So he's literally at the window and he's like, "Rrr, rrr, rrr." So I get him hype as shit. I'm like, Code, you want to get the squirrel? Good squirrel? Good squirrel?
Squirrel!
Code, you want to get him? You want to get him? Dude, so he's all hype and he's like, open the door, open the door. I open the door, dude, and he's like, he still has never caught the squirrel though.
Yeah, my dogs chase the rabbits and the squirrels out of my yard all the time.
Yeah, we don't have rabbits. I've seen a wolf.
A wolf?
Not a wolf. I'm sorry, a fox.
Oh yeah, we have foxes.
Yeah, I saw one of those.
They're the worst in like the middle of the night, like when
foxes?
they're like go in labor or they're pregnant or whatever in heat. The noise that they emit is it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right, I got a couple stories. Tagging along with your pastor, who's now a stripper. So this to me is pretty unique, and I can see how people would fall into this trap. I've made $1.7 million during lockdown by talking dirty to men in a British accent. A woman has been raking in the cash during lockdown just by using your accent to entice blokes. Olivia Blanco, 32, originally from London, moved to Miami, Florida, just before the first national lockdown in March, and has since made a whopping $1.7 million in less than a year.
Wow.
The British beauty regularly shares steamy snaps with her 561,000 followers on Instagram.
Wow.
She said, but it's the requests for a naughty chat on OnlyFans from her largely American fan base that has seen Olivia make big money. It says blokes often request clips of her just talking as they love the sound of her British accent. In the clips, she dresses in sexy clothing and dirty talks towards the camera. But like, I could see how people would be like, I'm going to fucking throw cash at that.
I wouldn't.
Huh?
I wouldn't.
I'm not doing it. I'm just saying I can see that.
Yeah.
More than just the pastor fucking.
Well, I mean, the pastor's pretty much doing the same thing. She's not being a pastor. It's like,
right?
Not like she's giving sermons.
Just so you guys can see what she looks like.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Okay.
Right? And she's talking to you in a British accent, right?
Yeah. What's her name?
It's on your business. Follow her on the gram?
Maybe.
She said, I'm proper English. I'm a heavy tea drinker and I'm clumsy. They love my accent here in the USA. Fans are always asking for custom videos of me just talking. And added, what can I say? The Yank perverts can't get enough. Maybe one day I'll branch out into audio stories. She'd make a fucking mint.
Yeah.
An absolute mint. Here's a Christmas story.
Christmas story.
Yeah, some of these are a little bit old. I've been stockpiling them.
Yeah, that's what mine was too.
So, man dressed as Santa rescued from power lines in California.
Power lines?
Santa found himself a little more tied up than usual for this time of the year. A Northern California man impersonating Santa Claus and flying on a powered parachute was rescued Sunday after he became entangled in the power lines. The incident happened shortly after the man took off near a school in Rio Linda to deliver candy canes to children in his community.
What was he in?
So he's in a powered parachute.
Okay. So he's in like a hot air balloon, essentially?
No, it's a powered parachute.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a hot air balloon, but it doesn't go up. It's got like wheels.
Uh-huh.
So I guess he pedals until it takes off. And then he just kind of, I guess, glides. But yeah, my man got tangled in the power lines.
He's lucky.
He was just hanging upside down, waiting for somebody to come rescue
Santa
him.
was just hanging.
Just hanging around. This reminds me, have you seen all the stuff about the dudes? There's a guy out in LA with a jetpack.
What?
and
Like
he
in
keeps
the water?
flying. No.
Oh, no, I haven't seen this.
This guy's got a jetpack and he keeps flying around near LAX airport.
Really?
Yeah. And all they do is keep catching pictures of the guy, but nobody knows who it is. And they keep investigating because he's flying in a restricted air. But my man doesn't care. He just keeps doing drive-by by the LAX. And
Over
I'm like,
the airport or just like around the
all
outside?
around it. Like, you know how anything like over the airport itself is restricted because planes are taking off?
Yeah.
You could fuck something up. But like he could also disturb like their trajectory going off or whatever. Like he could fuck shit up.
Mhm.
Plus, he's just a distraction. But like, how many people are around have a jetpack?
Not many.
Like, it's not a homemade one either. Like, it's a legit, you can buy a fucking jetpack. But I guarantee that they're not like, it's not like owning a car. Like, you can't go, all right, there's 450,000 Ford Tauruses out there. Like,
yeah,
there's got to be a handful of jetpacks and like only a few people have them, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, they can't figure out who this guy is, and he's just fucking flying around in his jetpack. Can you imagine that, telling your wife's like, where you headed to? Just going out with the boys drinking. Nah, I'm just gonna fly around in my jetpack. Just gonna toy around in that.
Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Fuck?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm gonna go cruising in my jetpack.
That's interesting. That sounds kind of cool, though.
Yep.
I like it.
This is more of a story. If anybody's ever listened to any one of our shows where we have the conversations about cheese curls or cheese balls, you'll get the gist that Steve doesn't like to get the cheese on his fingers.
Linger longer.
I use a fork to eat my cheese curls or my Cheetos. Anybody that knows that that's my thing. I don't want to get cheese on my fingers. So this happened last month. A truck filled with 20,000 pounds of cheese balls overturns on the Beltway. A truck loaded with 20,000 pounds of cheese balls was involved in a crash in the outer loop of the Capitol Beltway Monday afternoon, causing two right lanes nearby to close. The accident occurred in Maryland on routes 355 and 187. Says we have a sand truck here to help clean up the scene. The truck was on its side and it was only property damage. A spokesman for the Montgomery County Fire said on the same website, the Virginia Department of Transportation, Northern Virginia District, noted the truck full of cheese caught fire the day after Christmas in 2017. It's not the first time that this has happened, I guess, at this area. But like when I saw the article, all I could do was picture like the highway just covered in cheese balls. And like if it's me and I'm the one that's got to go out there cleaning it up, like I'm doing it one at a time with a fork. Because I'm not fucking picking them up. I'm not getting it all over my fingers.
They're using a shovel, dude. That shit's trash.
They can't get them all up with the shovel. But could you imagine to see me on the side of the road?
You know,
do you ever see those guys who pick up trash and they've got like the one nail in the wood?
You mean the criminals?
The criminals, yeah. But like they got that thing where they stab the piece of trash, they stab another piece, and then they drop it in their bag. Could you imagine just seeing me on the side of the road, one Cheeto at a time, just fucking banging them out?
You'd be there forever.
Forever.
They're just using like probably brooms. You know what they're actually probably using to clean that up? Not to take all your fun away, but they probably use like a backhoe with a big ass bucket and a broom or a fucking blower. I just blew it all in like from a distance, so it all goes in.
Yeah.
Those fuckers clean shit up quick.
Here's one of those headlines that catches your eye. China Incorporated will recycle used white guys.
What?
Yeah. It says breaking news or breaking views. This is from Reuters. China Incorporated will recycle used white guys. So when I read it, I went, oh shit, I got to dig deep on this one. I got to know what this is about. So basically what it's saying is people who price out, like in America, like white dudes that are over here and they're making X amount of dollars and then their jobs close and they can't find any jobs. You can go over to China and get that same job. So they're basically recycling white guys. That's the gist of the entire article. But like, I thought it was like going to be a totally different thing. And I'm like, oh, this could be good. But just the headline itself got me in there reading it. It says that some of the largest U.S. companies are moving quickly to rebalance their headcount. At Apple, for example, women made up 38% of their workers under 30 in 2018 versus just 31% 4 years earlier. The share of underrepresented minorities in that group rose 10 percentage points. Meantime, the employment to population ratio of white men, I'm already even doing it, of white men fell from 76% in 1972 to 67% in 2018.
It's impressive, though, that they already have 38% of the workforce being women.
Yeah. I mean, it's not, they've been allowed to work for like 100 years.
I'm not saying it from that standpoint. I'm just saying it's impressive, though, that a tech company literally,
it's still 6-4. So it's almost a 50-50.
Yeah.
They're getting closer, but like all these white dudes that have no jobs now have to go somewhere. China.
What are they doing in China?
China.
China.
They go over to China and they do the same job because over in China, their women still don't work.
Okay.
A couple more. If you had to fire out a car, I want to see if you can guess this. What car drivers have the most DUIs?
What car drivers?
Yeah, so like what kind of car do you think registers the most DUIs?
Trucks, pickup trucks.
You are correct. Which kind though?
It's got to be the.
It's a specific kind of pickup truck.
Yeah, like a brand.
Yeah.
So it's like an F-150. I think it's a Dodge Ram, probably.
It is. The Dodge Ram 2500 drivers have the most DUIs, more than twice the national average.
Why?
Huh? I don't know.
Dudes, you know why?
It says roughly 1 in 22 Ram 2500 drivers have been cited with DUIs before.
Those trucks are loud as shit.
It says driving while intoxicated is undoubtedly one of the worst things you could do. It's responsible for about 10,000 deaths in the United States annually. It says, with all that said, Ram 2500 drivers are by far the worst offenders.
Your mom said Ford. No, Joan.
No, Joan. A new study conducted by insurance comparison aggregator Insurify shows the data from about 2.7 million insurance applications to determine which vehicles are most likely to transport drivers cited for DUIs. Each application requires driver to disclose vehicles being driven on the policy and recent driving history, which gives analysts insight into the moving violations of drivers during a specific time period. So I deal with this all the time. This is where they call it the actuarial tables, and they say it's going to cost you X amount of dollars to insure your vehicle, and this is why. So when people have higher rates for higher vehicles, this is one of those rating factors we call. So if you own a Dodge Ram 2500 and you're wondering why your insurance is so high, and it's because they know that people who drive Dodge Rams are more than twice likely to get a fucking DUI than anybody else.
Let me ask you a question. Dead serious.
Yeah.
Have you ever priced out a Dodge Ram? And then the guy was like, well, I'm not going to get that now. I'm getting an F-150, and it was that much different?
So I have had people who call because they're shopping for specific cars, and they know they want to get a specific type. So for those at home that don't know, I'm an insurance agent. That's what I do for my profession. That's my day gig. So, yes, to answer your questions.
He eats cheese curls with forks.
Yeah, well, that's the hobby. So, to answer your question, yes, people will call up and say, hey, I'm shopping. And they will look at a specific car and go, the insurance on that is ridiculous. I'm not purchasing that. And they'll get pissed off and they'll ask why. And you explain to them the rating factors. Like, if you've ever watched TV, period, you'll constantly see where Subaru puts out there that their JD Power and Associates number one ranked safety vehicle that's out there. Well, from an insurance perspective, safety be damned, because they're not. They get into accidents just as much, sometimes more. So their rates aren't any better because they're supposedly the safest vehicle on the road. It's not. I guarantee that if you look from an insurance company's perspective and said, which cars get in the least amount of accidents, it's not going to be a Subaru.
It's going to be like a freaking...
In all honesty, I couldn't tell you what the vehicle is.
There like a list? Do you have like a list of cars that or is it just there's so many factors you can't even think of it, right?
Correct, because there's so many different makes and models, years, different features that are out.
I mean, just like,
but there's so many different features.
Like, for instance, I could have the same car as you, and yet our rates could be different. We're not getting the same rate.
True, and a lot of that has to do with, nobody likes to hear this, but one of the rating factors is your credit score. So this is why, like, I have people call up and they'll go, my friend so-and-so pays so much less than me. How come? And it's like, well, because no two people's situations are exactly the same.
Correct.
We live in different zip codes. We live in different areas of the city. We have different cars. We're different ages. So many different factors that apply, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things that we get all the time is, why does it cost more in the city than it does in the suburbs?
Theft rate.
Huh?
Theft rate.
No. Has nothing to do with theft rate.
No?
No.
All right, totally did. Okay.
So let's take the county that I live in. In Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, my population here is 818,000. But you could fit the city of Philadelphia, which is 3.3 million people, into Montgomery County like 4 times.
Right.
So when you have 3.3 million people condensed in a smaller area like that, the likelihood of accidents happening in the city are like 10 times higher than they are in the suburbs. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Less people on the road, spread out more versus there. So like if you're in New York City, astronomical rates versus if you were in like the suburbs of New York.
Right. Okay. I got you.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you live in a more heavily populated area, you're going to have accidents. And then there's also crime rates based off of the zip code that they look at, like median income and shit like that. How likely are you to get into an accident and get the car repaired? How likely are you to get into an accident that's going to be totaled? So on and so forth. So there's so many different factors that go into it. And they try to get as close as they can to being able to say, you're more likely based off of all of the demographics that fit into the pot based off of you. You're more likely to get into it. So we're going to charge you a higher rate because we know that eventually we're going to have to pay out a claim for you.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
And you guys are all welcome for a boring insurance lesson.
You guys can just call Steve, though. He'll run your shit.
Yeah. You can call me anytime you want.
Brian should call you.
He should.
Oh, wait. He left.
He did leave. Robbins Insurance. You can find us on the internet. Robbins Insurance and Financial Services, LLC.
Brian. B-R-Y.
Yeah. I'm not going to miss Brian. So last story, and then we'll get out of here for the week. Next week, though, before I leave, we're going to have our big whiskey episode. Nate Moss from Muddy Pot will be here. Jay Fogg from Pops McCann. He's going to come in. We're finally going to get this together. He's going to talk about his new line. He's got 4 new whiskeys. If you guys want to drink with us at home, we're going to be doing some tasting, talking about how whiskey is made.
Look Jay up. He'll deliver it to you.
He will deliver it to you off the website. So this is the last article. McDonald's China offers burger featuring Spam and, wait for it, crushed Oreos. Just when we thought
that just sounds disgusting.
Just when we thought we couldn't possibly be shocked by yet another bizarre fast food chain restaurant offering, McDonald's China has proved us wrong. For only one day, diners were invited to gobble up Spam and Oreo burgers.
Dude, that sounds disgusting.
The latest food mashup offered by the chain featured 2 extra thick slices of Spam, canned, cooked pork made by Hormel Foods, topped with Oreo crumbs and the brand's classic burger sauce. The announcement on McDonald's China website described the taste of the Oreo and Spam burger as tender and juicy, full of meatiness, and with a hint of sweet aftertaste. That is literally how women describe me. Tender and juicy, full of meatiness, with a hint of sweet aftertaste. That amounts to an unimaginable double surprise. Luncheon meat is always a trending food among youngsters nowadays, Abby Z, communications director of McDonald's in China, told CNN. It's a very strong, meaty, satisfying texture. The flavorful and crispy Oreo, on the other hand, is a snack youngsters are familiar with. By creatively combining the two foods, it doesn't only showcase the collision of tastes and textures, it is also quite topical socially.
I mean, dude, look, I'm all for like some Oreo sprinkles on something, but not on top of Spam on a freaking burger or a roll. That's just disgusting, dude.
So they said they had a total of 400,000 Oreo luncheon meat burgers available at 3,700 branches across China. Each branch had a limited supply. The burgers were sold out by noon in some branches. The overall sale was good, and there were some fierce discussions on social media. Jesus.
Ugh. I don't know, dog. It ain't for me.
So I can see the salt and sweetiness. The part that fucks me up is the special sauce. So the way that they make it, they put 2 slices of Spam on the bottom bun, right?
Okay.
And then on the top bun, they slather it with McDonald's special sauce, which is just ketchup, mayonnaise, and relish, with a little bit of Thousand Island dressing in there, I think, or Russian, whatever. Somebody will correct me.
Okay.
And then
Dude, you're putting
sprinkle the Oreos on top of that.
Disgusting.
That's my point.
Like, dude, if it was Spam in the sauce, okay, that's one thing.
Correct.
But you put Oreos on that?
If you did the Oreos and the Spam in just the roll, I could possibly see that being okay.
I'm out. You're putting Oreos on meat.
Well, I'll do sweet and spice. I'll do sweet and salty. Anything. I'm good with sweet and salty, which that's what that would be. Spam is really, really salty. It's almost like ham steaks.
Yeah, but dude, like
it's super salty pork.
No.
And then sweet chocolate cookies. I can get that. It's the sauce that I can't get
eat those together.
I can't get my head around that.
Together, I can't eat them. I wouldn't eat that at all.
Is this like bananas?
No, like I love Oreos and I'll eat some Spam. I don't give a shit. But I can't put them together and then eat them.
Why not?
It's just disgusting.
I kind of want to try it now.
Oh, you're on your own. I'm out.
Ma Duke said, ew, yuck. I don't know. I think I would give it a try, but I don't want any sauce on it. No sauce and I'm good, I think.
I'm out.
All right, you're out. And on that note, we too are out. We will see you guys next week. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Brian, sorry that we offended you by not having the same political beliefs as you. Literally, that was the only reason. And we'll see you guys all next week for our whiskey show.
Peace out. Have a good night.